All right, guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man, Jay. So today I'm going to be comparing the Z Fold 5 portrait style video versus the cinematic video on the OnePlus Open. So this is the Z Fold 5. Here's the OnePlus. And right now I'm going to talk about the advantages to the Samsung device versus the OnePlus. First of all, Samsung now shoots in 4K portrait video. Also, Samsung has more filters that you can change to when shooting with their portrait style video. Now, some of those filters are useful. Two of them are very useful to me. The one where I can just be me in color and the rest in black and white. I love that filter. But this is just a portrait style video, like somewhat of a blurry background. And this is the way it looks with the Z Fold 5. Now, I'm curious to see how the next iteration of this device will do when it comes to portrait video. Like, what more could they do? Can you control the f-stop, better on the Z Fold 5 than you can on the OnePlus? Certain things. So Samsung's camera system, though, is more advanced when it comes to like controls, the pro mode, and those different things. But overall, we're going to look at quality. And this is the Z Fold 5 shooting in portrait video, just sitting here in my office, just chatting with you guys. Think about the audio and things like that. Think about how everything looks and sounds and how crisp it is. Now, this is Samsung's best foot forward. This is 4K portrait video. No microphones. This is just the devices themselves and just sitting here. So again, recapping real quickly before I switch to the OnePlus Open, Samsung has a lot more features in their camera app. They have microphones. I'll see how the microphones sound, but you can control in the pro section of Samsung's camera app. You can control the microphones, but again, we're just doing portrait video. But Samsung has more filters in their portrait style video that you can do, and they can shoot 4K. So more filters, 4K, and probably more control when you're using the pro features, like I said. But overall, this is what Samsung is offering right now. And they both have the viewfinder, like I can look down and see the viewfinder and see that I'm in view and focus and everything. And I really like that. Also, another advantage to Samsung's video is I can do like this and start the video. So that's when you see the Samsung video start. You don't see me reaching away or, getting set or anything. But I do have to reach up and turn it off because the Samsung, pen doesn't support any kind of Bluetooth functionality. They both have support, but you don't have any kind of Bluetooth functionality like on the S23 Ultra to stop and start video and things like that. But you do have a full viewfinder, which is beautiful. It pretty much covers the entire screen just about. And I just have it sitting up on a mount. And now we're going to switch to the OnePlus Open with the exact same setting right here. Just sitting right here, talking to you, and we'll get this thing popping. All right, now here we are with the OnePlus Open. I was just trying to kind of position the cameras exactly the same if I could, but here we are at the OnePlus Open, and here is the Z Fold 5. I was kind of previewing it, trying to position myself to make sure I was all set the same. But this is the quality that OnePlus is giving you. Now, some are going to argue that, Jay, you really should be comparing it next to Samsung's highest powered phone cameras, which is these cameras. So I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll go ahead and throw this in the mix at some point in this video. But overall, foldable devices, cameras. Now, again, I've been speaking highly of OnePlus, letting you guys know that, hey, they threw it all in. So I want you to check quality. I'm looking at the viewfinder myself, just kind of making sure it's positioned, making sure the blurry background is really nice. I personally just prefer the OnePlus's quality. Now, and it's so strange for me because I honestly was one of those people that figured that Samsung's portrait video could never be touched. I'm an original Samsung owner since day one. I've had probably every Samsung device that you could possibly buy. And I love Samsung products, but I think it's a shaking of the tree that Samsung needs, because when companies compete, we win because they're going to bring out better products. We lose when it comes to the price most times, but if we can hang in there, we can get some good pricing too. So again, no microphones or any edits or anything. I'm just going to chop these together and load them onto the Mac and put them in one video for you. But rather, we're just looking at the viewfinder. Let me put my bifocals on here for a second. Yeah, just looking at the viewfinder. You tell me. I mean, you saw how Samsung looked with the quality sitting in this situation right here. Now, what you're looking at is a LED light, and have it set at about 9%. So it is not very bright. It's bright because it's kind of dim in here, but it is the morning time at the recording this video. I just have the window closed and just sitting at my office desk right here. But I'm going to go to a different area, and then I'm going to record another segment with both of these cameras, and you'll tell me what you think about it. So I personally prefer the way OnePlus is doing their. I mean, these cameras are really solid, but I think just and this device is only 3 months old, but I think Samsung needed this shaking of the tree. There's a lot of people that are really defending Samsung, but what you should be doing is getting on to. You should be happy that another company is pushing the limits now and giving Samsung some competition in the US, because they literally have been sitting at the top because no one really tried. And so now you've got a device that costs less, that is better in my opinion in a ton of ways, but just focusing on the cameras, OnePlus has done a phenomenal job. Let's move to a different spot and let's keep recording. All right, guys, now here we're sitting in a setting where I normally would do a lot of vlogs with a more well-lit area with no LEDs going. So here I am at my dining room table, 2 windows open like I always have, and that's it pretty much. This area is lit up, but it's far away. So this is, as I look in the viewfinder and check the viewfinder here, this is the Z Fold 5 again. This is the Z Fold 5. Here's the OnePlus Open, and this is still portrait style video. And this is what you get in a nicely lit area. Now, it's not a real sunny day out today. We've been getting storms and rains, but it is light out today. It's not raining, and it's a little bit overcast. It's kind of bright outside though, so it's good. But this is what Samsung has to offer, and this is where I really was giving Samsung high praise, because in this area right here, if you're a person who's starting a YouTube channel and you want to vlog and you're going to be a vlogger, Samsung, this is why I really gave Samsung a lot of praise in this area. I've always liked the Z Fold 5's cameras, or the Z Fold cameras from the 2 forward. I think they all were pretty good. They just got better with time. And the Z Fold 5's cameras, I've used them so many times. Also the Z Flip 5, I've used those cameras so many times when I wanted to vlog with a Samsung camera, because I wanted a viewfinder. Shooting with the S23 Ultra, I don't always want to use the front setup. I want to use the rear setup because that's their best foot forward. And so here we are again with Samsung's best foot forward for portrait style video. If I'm going to be vlogging, this is what you could expect in this type of scenario and setting if you have a Z Fold 5. Now let's switch over to the OnePlus Open. All right, now here is the OnePlus Open, and here is the Samsung. I was making sure I was in the same view ultimately. But I again, when we go to what these two devices are offering, they both have a very large viewfinder. Now, disadvantage to OnePlus, because they're not doing 4K. All the footage that you see from OnePlus is in 1080p for portrait style video. They're not doing 4K video. It drops to 1080p when you switch it to, like if you're in 4K setting and you switch to the portrait style video, you hit the little icon on the bottom. Oh, quick question answered real quick. Someone was asking me, how do you turn on portrait style video for the OnePlus Open? Well, on OnePlus devices, there's a little icon in the bottom left corner when you open the camera app. You just hit that when you're in video, and it's going to take you over to portrait video. You can adjust your f-stop and do what you want to do. So this is the OnePlus Open, and mind you, the OnePlus Open's default port f-stop is 2.8. Samsung's it's probably about 2. I can't adjust the f-stop properly on the Samsung. Like there's no out on the Open reading for it. You can just adjust blur, and so with Samsung, let's see if I can get to this here. Yeah, you just adjust the effect and strength. So Samsung's is more than likely at about 2.8. That's the default for a lot of companies. People seem to think that the 28mm lens is the perfect distance for a vlog, and people also companies. When I say people, I think some companies think that the f2.8 is a great f-stop for a portrait style video when you're doing this. But nonetheless, this is what OnePlus has to offer in the exact same spot. I love that they both have this beautiful viewfinder, and you just check it out, man. Just look at the quality, listen to the audio, just listen to everything. I stand firm in what I'm saying. We should not battle each other so much as consumers when it comes to these OEMs. We need to be on the same accord because, listen, again, I'm an OG. When it comes to Samsung, I'm an OG. There's a lot of OGs out there for Samsung. There was nothing else. But change is good. Change is very good. And I've never really given OnePlus this much respect when it comes to their devices. But this device has earned and deserves a ton of respect. If you're a Samsung fan and you're a Z Fold fan, or you're just a Samsung fan in general, you just don't want to switch, I think it would be better for you if you just acknowledged, okay, that is good. And then maybe Samsung will do the same thing. Give you a better design, or I should say give us a better design. Push forward with better cameras on their foldable devices. Because what I remember reading through a lot of comments for Samsung foldable devices is they should have put the S whatever cameras on there. Happens all the time. But now that the tree is really getting shook hard, OnePlus came in and get a chokehold on Samsung and said, you gonna respect me. And hey, I'm giving mad respect because it's deserved. OnePlus has done the doggone thing. You cannot deny this. I'm not doing anything special. I'm not that kind of creator. I don't edit and post as much as I can. Sometimes when you see some of my vlogs, I'm just reaching up, stopping, and I'm going straight to YouTube. Because another thing we talk about YouTube is already kind of dumbing down our quality, for their service purposes. They're not giving you all that it is. When I process an HDR video, it takes like 2 to 3 days for that video to finally process. Recently put up my 30 days for my iPhone 15 Pro, and it took that video about 3.5 days to process to HDR. That's not on me. I uploaded it. It got up to 4K 60 the same day it was finished processing. But YouTube takes so long to process everything. So, I mean, you tell me, man, like, do you really feel like this quality is not better than the Samsung Z Fold 5's quality? If you do, respect it. I respect it. I respect everybody's. I'm not trying to convince anybody to buy the OnePlus Open. I'm not trying to convince anybody to buy the Z Fold 5. I'm not trying to convince you that just whatever is in your mind, what you think I'm trying to convince you of. I'm just simply putting the devices out there, showing you how they work in a couple of different settings, and you answering the question, what do you think, son? Like, what do you think? Now, I'm going to go ahead and take care of that situation, because I know some people are going to say, well, you really should be comparing next to the S23 Ultra, because the OnePlus has the advantage because it has better high-powered cameras, blah, 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 blah. Well, let's go ahead and put the S23 Ultra up here, and let's see how it does before we get out of here. All right, now here is the S23 Ultra shooting at this portion of the video. I started it with the pen, and here's the OnePlus Open, and here is the Z Fold 5. So, see how it does with this. Yeah, anyway, here are the devices, and I'm shooting with the S23 Ultra. Here's my pen that I started it with. So this gives you some example on how this device would do. It's kind of coming up. The sun's coming out finally. But this gives you some examples of how the S23 Ultra compares next to the OnePlus Open, because these, in fact, are Samsung's best cameras that they are offering at the moment. The S23 Ultra, again, is not an old device, but it is coming up on a refresh with the 24, but I don't anticipate the 24 being that different. They'll sell us on a few things, but folks, the S23 Ultra, I pretty much at about 6 months of ownership of this device started naming it phone of the year. It is just that good. But the Pixel 8 Pro has arrived, the iPhone 15 Pro has arrived, and the OnePlus Open has arrived. I mean, the fact that I have this phone in the category with a regular slab speaks volumes. So this is the S23 Ultra's rear camera shooting in portrait style video at 4K, just like the Z Fold 5 can do. Now let's close out with the OnePlus, because I feel like that's the winner of the two. All right, folks. Well, like I just said, I feel like this is the winner, man. I feel like OnePlus has shown up and showed out. And I'm a firm believer that Samsung can do it. They can come back. Like, instead of Samsung fans, and remember, folks, I'm a Samsung fan, but I make these videos just like I make here's the S23 Ultra and the Fold5 right here. I make these videos to just show, like, sometimes you just got to step outside of your comfort zone and acknowledge something if it's good or not. And I'm just kind of adjusting the camera, make sure I'm in view here, like kind of positions there. But nonetheless, I think Samsung products are phenomenal. I think that, again, they need to be tested. Like, why would you want to live in a world where there's just no competition? Nobody's trying. And I think Samsung has done a phenomenal job up to this point. I don't feel any differently about the S23 Ultra or the Z Fold5 when it comes to everything I've said in the past about them. They're still phenomenal devices. But I think like in the previous video, I said I'm in shock that OnePlus brought a device that I actually jumped out there and just purchased. I can't believe it. I do purchase all of the OnePluses, but sometimes I don't get them and keep them because there's something about it that I just don't like. So I'll sell it later. But, with OnePlus, I just happen to hold on to a few of their devices. I've got several OnePlus devices, and I was willing to give up the 10 Pro to trade in for this device. I thought it was worth it, and I'm glad I did, because when you start to compare, like, let's just say I did have a trade-in for the Z Fold5, and the price was the same in the final numbers, you know what I'm saying? Like, for this device, if the Z Fold5 and the OnePlus Open were both, $1,000, trade-in or not, the OnePlus got it, like, period. It's that good. And sometimes, I do read your comments, and, all the petty stuff, I try to ignore it. I just, like, and they're in their feelings. They're mad because of whatever. But most of the time, I think here's a great example. I love to reference this example. Back in the day when I used to sit right here, and I used to ride Apple about their video quality and how iPhones couldn't do it. This guy named David, he's a viewer like you. This is how legit I am when it comes to, I don't know everything. Just because I'm creating, folks, I'm just some dude just buys everything. You know what I mean? Like, I'm retired, I got a lot of time on my hands. I travel a lot. I'm always with family. But when I'm not with family, and I'm not traveling, and I'm not doing stuff, I'm creating content and buying phones because I've always liked to do it. I've always been into tech. But this guy David comes along, and he's just a viewer like you. And he said, Jay, look, he did it respectfully. That's what gained my respect, because what he did was, back at that point, there was a lot of iPhone creators that were saying the iPhone was the best, and I kept saying, no, it's not. Nobody could figure out how to tweak the settings in the iPhone to make it better. And this guy David comes along and says, Jay, just hear me out. I'm an iPhone fan. Like, I'm legit. I really like iPhones. And so here's what you need to do. Just some regular dude watching my videos. I took his advice, and I came back, and I said, hey, this guy was right. Almost dedicated a whole video to this cat, because I'm open to listening. I don't know everything. But one thing I do know is, I bet I have more devices than the people watching. And I bet I purchased more. I bet I've experienced more than almost 99% of the people watching me, because you're not willing to spend $2,000 up front for a device. You're not willing, and it's okay. I'm not saying I'm better than you. I'm just saying I have more experience than you. I'm not just creating. I literally am buying more than you, and I'm actually using them, having 4 phone lines at one point, just to try to make it work, to be as realistic as possible. But the fact is, we all have to remain humble. And I think a lot of the Samsung fans that are jumping in the comments are very immature right now. Like, they talk about Apple people, but I'm going to say it like it is. I think a lot of these cats are very immature. And if you whatever you're typing, it is you. This is how you're going to present yourself. And I think you need to remember that it's just a phone. It's just something that we're all passionate about something. And we all kind of have a bias at some point towards something, but Samsung fans, just acknowledge already that this phone and slash device slash tablet is better. And what will happen is you will get what you want. But the problem with that is OnePlus is gonna one up itself more than likely. 5 generations in, and let me take one for the team. Let me take one for the team. 3 generations in with OnePlus's foldable devices, OnePlus is doing it better. Doing it better. They're just doing it better. You guys feel better? You OnePlus fans, you feel better now? You feel better? You feel better? This is a 3rd generation device. Samsung is on their 5th generation device. Samsung needs to do better. OnePlus came along, they got you. Now, in the US, this is a 1st generation device. That's where I live. So, Samsung fans, don't be mad if more people like the OnePlus devices. You should be happy that you now have some serious competition in the United States and things are really going to heat up, because what could happen is that prices can fall. Like if Samsung, remember those ramblings about Samsung going to drop a $9.99 foldable? What if they go ahead and do it with this one and then make a better version with a whole nother spec? It looks different and call it the Z Fold Premium or the Z Fold 5 Pro. Then you guys will be all in with that. You should want these companies to battle because they're going to bring out better and better and better tech. And you know what? Honestly, it's already there. It's already made. The Z Folds that we don't see, the products that we don't see, most of them are really good. And I say that from experience because before COVID, when I was traveling to a bunch of events and stuff like that, folks, let me tell you something. And there were people that are creating online right now that were in that room with me, like content creators or influencers, a lot of influencers. They could tell you these companies scrapped phones that were way better than what they put on the market. Seriously. They brought out products and we was like, why would you bring this out when you could bring this out? They don't bring it out. And they fail. They lose out. You know what I mean? So all I gotta say is, at this point in the game, OnePlus, man, you have moved up in the conversation officially with phone of the year. And it's gonna be tough because I like my iPhone 15 Pro. I'm not in front. I like the iPhone 15 Pro like I like the iPhone 10. You guys know I love that iPhone 10. I had it for 2 years. Didn't want to sell it in a trade, but I got offered so much money from Apple. I think I sold it for a lot of money. I don't know what it was, but I like the iPhone 15 Pro like I like the iPhone 10. And I like the OnePlus Open like I like the S23 Ultra, folks. These cameras are killing it. I mean, I don't talk too much about software and all those other things because those are obvious. Even the companies are not talking about software that much. They're talking about cameras. Everything is cameras because we're in a social media age. Everybody's just recording and vlogging, and this is what it is. OnePlus came to play. It's your man Jay. Hope you guys enjoyed. What do you think about the quality that you've seen from these videos? I'll see you in the next video. Take care.